Our story begins with a girl named Tessa Young. She is exactly the kind of girl every parent wants their daughter to be. She works hard in her studies, never gets into any trouble, and always makes the right choices. She has a sweet boyfriend named Noah, a mother who loves her deeply, and a very clear plan for what she wants in life. But life does not always go the way you plan it. Then the big day comes. Tessa is going to college for the first time. For Tessa, this is the first big step toward the future she has always dreamed of. But for her mother, this day is very stressful and scary. Her mom wants to check every single thing and make sure everything is perfect and nothing goes wrong. Her mother has always been like this, very protective, very strict, and always keeping an eye on Tessa. Noah also comes with them to help Tessa settle into her new place. He is sweet and soft-hearted, and you can clearly see how much he loves Tessa. But inside, both Tessa and Noah know that living far apart from each other is not going to be easy. When they reach the college hostel, Tessa meets the girl she will be sharing her room with, Steph. From the very first moment, it is obvious that Tessa and Steph are completely different from each other. Steph is loud, fun, and totally free. She does whatever she feels like. She has bright-colored hair and a very bold and lively personality. Tessa's mother sees Steph once and immediately wants to move Tessa to a different room. Tessa begs her mom, "Please don't do this, don't create a drama here." She promises her mom that she will only focus on her studies and will not get into any kind of trouble. Her mother agrees, but only after giving Tessa a very long list of do's and don'ts. After her mom and Noah leave, the room suddenly feels very quiet and empty. Steph turns to Tessa and asks, "Do you want to go out and have some fun?" Tessa politely says no and starts unpacking her bags, which are almost completely full of books. Steph looks at the huge pile of books and bursts out laughing. She has never seen anyone bring so many books to college in her life. Days pass, and Tessa gets used to her new life at college. She goes to class, studies hard, and mostly stays to herself. She does not mix much with others. She is studying economics, but her real love is literature and books. She picked economics because it felt like the smarter and more practical option for her future. That is just who Tessa is, always making the safe and sensible choice. In one of her classes, she becomes friends with a boy named Landon. He is friendly and easy to talk to, and the two of them quickly become good friends. One evening, Tessa comes back after her shower and finds a complete stranger sitting inside her room. She stops dead in her tracks, completely shocked. She has no idea who this person is or what he is doing in her room. Steph quickly comes in and explains, "This is my friend. His name is Hardin. Hardin has dark hair, tattoos covering his arms, and a look on his face like everything in the world is boring to him. He is totally different from every person Tessa has ever known." Hardin and Steph are going to a party and casually ask Tessa if she wants to come. She says no. Hardin looks at her with a small smirk on his face and says, "Yeah, I am not surprised. She does not look like the kind of person who has ever been to a party in her life." Tessa does not say a single word back. She just watches them walk out and goes back to her books. A few days go by and Steph keeps asking Tessa to come out with her. Tessa always says no, until one night she finally says yes. Maybe she was curious. Maybe she just needed a break from studying. Whatever the reason, she gets ready and goes to a party for the very first time in her life. At the party, Steph takes Tessa around and introduces her to everyone. Everyone is drinking, laughing, and having a great time. Tessa feels like she does not really belong here, but she tries her best to relax and enjoy herself. Someone walks up to her and offers her a drink. She says no at first, but after a little pushing from others, she takes one tiny sip. Then someone in the group suggests they all play truth or dare. Tessa agrees to join the game. When her turn comes, she picks truth, thinking it is the safer and easier option. But the question she gets is very personal and embarrassing. The whole room goes silent for a moment. Everyone suddenly realizes just how sheltered and innocent Tessa really is. Then it is time for the dare. The group dares Tessa to kiss Hardin. She stands up and slowly walks toward him, then stops. She shakes her head and says, "No, I am not doing this." She is not going to kiss someone she barely knows just because a game told her to. She turns around and walks straight out of the party. Outside, she takes out her phone and calls Noah. Just hearing his voice makes her feel a little better and calmer. After the call, she walks around inside the house looking for a quiet place to sit. She finds herself in a room upstairs, and the first thing she notices is the books. Shelves and shelves full of them. Classic novels, poetry, literary fiction, all the great books. Whoever this room belongs to clearly has very good taste in books. Before she can think too much about it, Hardin walks into the room. It is his room, but he does not ask her to get out. Instead, they start talking about the books on the shelves. Tessa is genuinely surprised. She never expected someone who looks like Hardin to be such a big reader. He slowly moves closer to her and reminds her, "You still have not completed your dare." Something shifts between them. The air in the room feels different. For just 1 second, Tessa almost leans in toward him, but she catches herself in time. She steps back and walks out of the room. She cannot explain what just happened inside that room. She only knows one thing. It felt like nothing she has ever felt before. The next day in class, the professor starts a discussion about a famous love story. When Hardin is asked what he thinks, he says straight out, "I do not believe in love." He says love is just something people invented to make themselves feel good. Tessa cannot hold herself back. She completely disagrees with him. She believes in love, in being loyal, and in always doing the right thing. They argue back and forth, and the tension in the room keeps building. The other students just watch quietly, sensing that this is more than just a simple class discussion. After class, Tessa goes to Landon and lets out all her frustration. She asks Landon, "How do you even tolerate someone like Hardin?" Landon then tells her something she had no idea about. Hardin's father and Landon's mother are in a relationship, and they are planning to get married. That means Hardin and Landon are going to be stepbrothers soon, and that explains why there is so much awkwardness and distance between the two of them. A day or two later, Tessa bumps into Hardin at a coffee shop near college. He tells her, "Since we keep meeting each other everywhere, we might as well just be friends." Then he says he wants to take her to a place he really loves, somewhere quiet and peaceful. He thinks she will love it. Tessa says no at first, but something about the way he says it makes her stop and think. She changes her mind and says yes. Hardin drives her away from the city, past the busy roads and buildings, and into the calm and quiet of nature. They walk through the trees and reach a beautiful lake. The water is perfectly still and crystal clear. The trees all around are tall, green, and full of life. Tessa just stands there, completely speechless. It is one of the most beautiful sights she has ever seen in her life. Without any warning at all, Hardin takes off his shirt and jumps straight into the lake. He looks back at Tessa and tells her, "Come in." She says she has no extra clothes to change into. He throws his t-shirt at her and says, "Just wear this." She laughs and jumps in. The water is cold and refreshing. Tessa asks Hardin, "Who do you love the most in this world?" He answers without even thinking, himself. Then he asks her about Noah. She talks about Noah with warmth and love. He is her childhood friend, loyal, kind, and always there for her. Hardin listens and then says quietly, "Kind usually just means boring." This time, Tessa does not argue back. They stay in the water for a long time, talking so easily, like they have known each other for years. And then, without either of them planning it, they kiss. It is soft, quiet, and completely unexpected, and both of them feel it deeply. When they come out of the water, Hardin reaches out and gently touches her face. Tessa feels something she cannot even describe rushing through her entire body. Hardin pulls back and says, "Let's take this slow." Later, the two of them go to a small restaurant together. They sit across from each other and just talk for hours. They share stories, make each other laugh, and discover things about each other that surprise them both. It feels like the start of something truly real. But then Hardin's friends walk into the restaurant, and everything changes instantly. Hardin's mood changes immediately. He becomes tense and uncomfortable, like a completely different person. Tessa notices it straight away. After the friends leave, she tells him honestly what she is thinking. She is going to tell Noah the truth about everything. It would not be right to keep spending time with Hardin while Noah still thinks everything is fine between them. Hardin's expression changes. He says, "I never agreed to anything. I never made any promises." He does not do relationships. He does not believe in dating or love, period. She should have known this from the beginning. Tessa just stares at him. She says nothing, and then she turns and walks away. That night, alone in her room, she cannot sleep at all. She is hurt, confused, and angry, mostly at herself. How did she let this happen to herself? The next morning, Noah suddenly shows up at her door, smiling. He drove all the way from his city just to see her. Tessa feels a sharp pain in her chest when she sees him. She's happy to see Noah, but she knows she is not the same person she was the last time they met. That evening, a group of students gets together for a bonfire in the woods. Tessa goes with Noah. Hardin is there too. At some point during the night, a drunk guy starts troubling Tessa. Before Tessa can even do anything, Hardin steps in. He grabs the guy and punches him hard, again and again, until someone pulls Hardin away. The whole mood of the evening is completely ruined after that. Later that night, Landon texts Tessa and asks her to go check on Hardin. Hardin had a big fight with his father that very same day, and apparently Tessa's name came up during the argument. Hardin is not doing well at all. Tessa goes to find him. She finds him sitting alone, angry and drunk. He tells her about his dad, how his father left his mother for another woman, how his dad is now living a perfect happy life like nothing ever happened, while his mom is all alone in London, completely falling apart. The anger and pain in his voice is raw and completely real. In a moment of rage, he smashes a glass. Tessa quietly bends down to pick up the broken pieces, and cuts her hand. Hardin stops immediately. Everything inside him softens in that one moment. He carefully takes her hand, cleans the cut, and wraps it gently. And then, for the very first time, he opens up completely. He tells her that all his anger, all the walls he has built around himself, they all come from watching his father destroy their family. He never wanted to love anyone, because in his experience, love only leads to pain. But meeting Tessa has made him feel things he does not know how to deal with. Tessa understands exactly what he means. She has felt the same things too. They hold each other close. And that night, for the very first time, they fall asleep together. The next morning, Tessa wakes up and sees her phone is full of missed calls from Noah. She rushes out to find him, but Hardin is already standing there with him. Noah looks at Tessa, then at Hardin, then back at Tessa, and he understands everything. Without a single word being said, he leaves quietly, heartbroken, but with his head held high. Tessa is completely devastated. She has hurt someone she truly and genuinely cared about. She stops eating, stops talking, and barely comes out of her room for days. Eventually, she goes to find Hardin. They sit together on a rooftop. Tessa tells him honestly, "Noah was a good person and a real and important part of my life, but Hardin has become something even bigger than that in her life. She cannot explain it in words. She just knows it is true." After that conversation, they are officially together, and for a while, life feels truly wonderful. They go out together, laugh together, and enjoy every moment. Tessa feels safe. She feels chosen, like she is the one he picked above everyone else. One afternoon, while they are together in Tessa's room, the door suddenly opens. It is Tessa's mother. The room goes completely silent. Her mother looks at both of them, and her face goes pale. She tells Tessa, "I sent you here to study, not for this." She tells her that Hardin is a big mistake. She tells her to end the relationship right now, but Tessa stands her ground and does not back down. Maybe for the very first time in her life, she says no to her mother. Her mother walks out, and this time she does not look back. Tessa feels how heavy that is, losing her mother's support, but she does not change her decision. Not long after that, Hardin surprises her. He takes her to a house, clean, comfortable, and quiet. He tells her that a friend of his father rarely uses this house, and he has arranged for both of them to stay there together. It is their own private space, just the two of them. Tessa is completely stunned. After everything, all the arguments, all the walls, all the pushing and pulling, he is choosing her, fully and completely. They move in and settle in together. They cook food together, share music, and stay up way too late just talking. It is simple, ordinary happiness, but it feels extraordinary when you have never had it before. And then comes the wedding. Hardin's father is getting married to Landon's mother. Hardin does not want to go at all, but Tessa convinces him. "Just a few hours," she says. At the wedding reception, Tessa meets Hardin's father. He is warm, polished, and immediately likes Tessa very much. When Tessa mentions she is studying English and is interested in publishing, he offers to connect her with a friend of his who runs a publishing company. It could be a real and big opportunity for her future. Tessa is deeply touched by his kindness. During the toast, Hardin's father speaks beautifully about family, growth, and new beginnings. To everyone in the room, it sounds wonderful, but to Hardin, it sounds like a lie. A lie told by a man who walked away from his first family without ever looking back. Tessa quickly takes Hardin's hand and leads him to the dance floor, before the night gets any worse for him. It works. For a little while. That night, back at their house, they grow closer to each other than they have ever been before. Everything between them feels real, deep, and like it will last forever. The next day at college, Tessa bumps into Molly, one of Hardin's oldest friends. Molly has always been close to Hardin, and there is something about the way she talks that makes Tessa feel uneasy. When Tessa mentions that she and Hardin are officially together, Molly almost says something, then stops herself and just smiles. That evening, Tessa picks up Hardin's phone to check the time, and sees a message from Molly asking him to come meet her. Tessa asks Hardin about it directly and honestly. He brushes it off and says he has to go somewhere. He does not explain where or why. He just leaves, and he does not come back until very late that night. Tessa cannot sit still. Something feels very wrong. She goes out looking for him and finds him with the whole group at their usual hangout spot. Molly looks at Tessa with a look, like she knows something Tessa does not. Then Molly says it, right in front of everyone. She asks Hardin whether his dare has gone further than he planned. Everyone goes completely quiet. Tessa looks at Hardin. He says nothing. So Molly tells Tessa everything. On the night of that very first party, after Tessa refused the dare and walked out, the group gave Hardin a new dare. The dare was very simple. Get close to Tessa, make her fall in love with him, and then leave her. It was a game, a bet, and Hardin had accepted it. Every single moment at the lake, planned. Every time he made her feel special. It was all part of the game. Everyone in that room knew, and nobody told her. Tessa stands up, Slowly, she looks at every single person in that room. She asks, "How could you all do this to me?" Nobody answers. She walks out. Hardin follows her outside. He tries to explain himself. He says, "The dare was from before I really knew you, before any of this became real." He says what he feels right now has nothing to do with any game or bet. He means every single word he has ever said to her. But Tessa cannot hear any of it right now. All she can think about is her mother's warnings and how right she was. The next morning, she is back at her childhood home. Her mother opens the door, takes one look at her face, and knows immediately that something is very badly broken. They sit down together, and Tessa tells her everything. And for the first time ever, her mother does not say, "I told you so." Instead, she says, "I am sorry." She is sorry for always pushing her, always controlling her, and always making Tessa feel like she could not be trusted to make her own decisions. Tessa also goes to see Noah. She sits across from him and tells him, "I should have been honest with you from the very beginning. I should not have let things go on the way they did. I am sorry." Noah listens, and then he smiles. He tells her, "People change. We all go through things in life that shape who we are." He does not blame her for any of it. And just like that, the friendship they had since childhood finds its way back. With some peace back in her heart, Tessa focuses on moving forward with her life. She applies for an internship at the publishing company that Hardin's father mentioned at the wedding. She gets it. It is not a huge thing, but it feels like the very first step she has taken completely for herself and no one else. Back at college, the semester is almost finished. In her last class, all students are asked to write and submit a personal essay. Then her professor pulls her aside and hands her something, an envelope with her name written on it. It is a letter, written by Hardin and given to her teacher to pass on to her. In the letter, Hardin writes about all the books he has read, the ones on his shelf, the ones she picked up that very first night in his room. He writes that all those books always said love is the most important thing in life, and he always thought that was foolish and stupid. He was completely sure all those writers were wrong, and then he met Tessa. He writes, "I was wrong. Wrong about love, wrong about myself." He writes that she once asked him at the lake, "Who do you love most in this world?" He said himself, without even thinking. But now he knows the real answer. It is her. It has always been her. He does not ask her to forgive him. He just wants her to know the truth. Tessa folds the letter carefully and drives to the lake. She sits by the water, at the exact same spot where they jumped in together. The same place where she first felt something she had never felt before in her life. And then she hears footsteps on the grass behind her. Hardin sits down right beside her. Neither of them says a single word for a long moment. Then Tessa looks at him, and she forgives him. But this is just the beginning of their story. The road ahead will not be easy or smooth. There will be more fights, more tears, and more moments where everything feels like it is about to fall apart. And that is exactly where the next chapter of their story begins.